Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Good morning, dear students. I, Dr. Chintan Waghela, working as an assistant professor of English subject at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Dear students, today I just want to share a one quote before we begin the session, and then we will start our video session. Dear students, till today you have heard number of good quotes regarding education and so many things. But today I would like to share one of the most famous proverb of Don J. He says that education is not a journey only. Education is not a journey only. Education is not the preparation for the life only. But dear students, education is life itself. It means that, dear students, we don't have to get the education to get the degrees only, but we have to transform the education, whatever we achieve, whatever we get, to make our life better and achievable for ourselves and the other people as well. So let's start our today's session. Dear students, as we all know that last time we have discussed some points about the brief history of English language and various influences on English language. So some points, some elements, some components are left. So today we will discuss in today's video session. So dear students, let's begin. So dear students, our today's components for the presentations are the Latin influence, Roman invasion, Latin brought by Anglo-Saxon, role of Christian missionaries, Latin in the Middle English period, the Renaissance, and the academic use. So dear students, let's start the first one, that is called the Latin influence. So dear students, in this slide, we are having an information about the Latin language into the English language. English is a diverse language. The foundation means the base was Anglo-Saxon, yet it also incorporates significant Scandinavian, French, and Latin elements. Additionally, it has acquired vocabulary from the majority of European languages and several from other continents as well. So dear students, as we all know that English is a vibrant and a diverse language, and which is known for its ability to adapt and grow by incorporating words from the wide range of sources. Although its foundation lies in Anglo-Saxon, English has been deeply influenced by other languages over the countries, by including Scandinavian, French, and Latin. This is the borrowing has made English a truly global language, as it has absorbed vocabulary from nearly all European languages and from cultures around the world. Latin in particular has a profound impact on English language. So the influence of Latin spans different periods of history and can be grouped into 6 distinct categories based on how these words were introduced. So dear students, as I said, that it has been distributed in 6 different categories. So in next slides, we will go through it, that which are the different 6 categories. Dear students, this is all about the Roman invention we have. Let's discuss. During the Roman occupation of England from 55 BC to 410 Anno Domini, several Latin words must have found their way into the Celtic language. Words like vin means wine, in Old English evolved from the Latin vinum. The Latin vellum resulted in Old English val, and castor developed from the castor. So dear students, here that you can see that slowly the gradually entry of the Roman into the English language we have. During the Roman occupation of England, which lasted from the 55 BC to 410 Anno Domini, the interaction between the Roman and the native Celtic population led to the introduction of the many Latin words into the local languages. These borrowings reflect the influence of Roman culture, technology, and daily life on the region. For example, the Latin word vinum. Dear students, I just want to repeat all these things to go through it properly, so we can make it more impactful. Meaning wine found its way into the Old English as vin. The Latin word vellum, which referred as a rampart for fortification. Dear students, I just want to draw your attention. Rampart or fortification, it means that defensive wall which protect us from something else, eventually turned into the Old English word well and later evolved into the modern English word called wall. Dear students, next slide is all about the Latin brought by Anglo-Saxon. Let's discuss. When the angels and the Saxons, being the part of Roman Empire, had their own stock of Latin words which they brought to the England. Dear students, as we all know that the Latin and Greek, both the languages, have significant impact on English language, and we can easily accept that maximum words that which we are using, the vocabulary which we are using, we have received from the Latin and the Greek languages. So, when the Angles and Saxons invaded England after the fall of the Roman Empire, they brought with them influences from the Latin, which they had encountered as a part of Roman world. These Germanic tribes, dear students, please pay attention. These Germanic tribes had absorbed the Latin vocabulary during their interactions with the Roman Empire, and they carried these words into the evolving Old English language. For example, the Anglo-Saxon word "dufil" means devil was derived from the Latin word diabolos, which itself had roots in Greek. Similarly, the Old English word "nint" means night can be traced back to the Latin word nox, showing how even fundamental concepts were shaped by Latin influences. These borrowings reflect the deep culture and linguistic exchange that occurred during and after the Roman era, laying the groundwork for the complex and richly layered vocabulary of the English language. Next slide is all about the role of Christian missionaries. Dear students, as the title of this slide is called Role of Christian Missionaries, which simply means that here we will find the importance and the contribution of Christian missionaries in the English language. Let's discuss. During the Anglo-Saxon period, the arrival of early Christian missionaries brought a new wave of Latin influence into the English language. These missionaries introduced religious concepts and practices that required new vocabulary, much of which was borrowed directly from Latin. As a result, many words related to religion and spiritual life became part of the Anglo-Saxon lexicon. For instance, the Anglo-Saxon word crux means cross was derived from the Latin word called crux. Similarly, candle means candle, creda means creed, cometa, the comet, and idol also have clear Latin origins. Dear students, these words reflect the profound impact. These words reflect profound impact of Christianity on the cultural and linguistic development of the Anglo-Saxon period, as Latin served as the language of the church and scholarly learning. This period marked an important step in the integration of Latin into the English language, particularly in religious and intellectual domains. Dear students, next slide is all about Latin in the Middle English period. So we are having an information about the Latin language and the importance, the contribution of Latin language into the Middle English period. Let's discuss. During the Middle English period, around 1100 to 1500 Anno Domini, the English language borrowed many words from the Latin language. And these Latin terms were primarily related to specialized fields such as religion, law, medicine, and alchemy. Additionally, numerous abstract concepts and ideas were introduced through Latin vocabulary. However, most of these Latin words did not come into the English direct. Instead, they borrowed indirectly from French, which acted as a bridge between the Latin and English language. This indirect borrowing reflects the influence of Norman French culture and language on English during this time. Next element is all about, that is called the Renaissance we have. So dear students, in this slide, we are having information about some phenomenon called the Renaissance period, especially between 1550 and 1600 was a significant time for Latin influence on the English language. This era often referred to the birth of classical learning, brought an immense enrichment to English as countless words were borrowed from the Latin. The language of ancient writers like Caesar, Virgil, and Ovid, Latin was highly regarded by the English scholars of the time, who frequently read, spoke, and wrote in the language. In fact, many important works such as Thomas More's Utopia were originally written and published in Latin rather than in English language. During this time period, many Latin words were directly adopted into the English without changes such as genius, measure, medium, senior, junior, and animal. At the same time, others were slightly modified or anglicized, such as secure and compute. Even renowned authors like John Milton incorporated a wide range of Latin words into their works, reflecting the strong classical influences of the time. This influx of Latin vocabulary left a lasting mark on the English language, which enriched its lexicon and shaping its literary and intellectual tradition. And dear students, the last element, the last category we are having, that is called the academic use. Dear students, in this slide, we will discuss something about the English language and its contribution, its importance, its existence, its utilization, and so many other things in the academic use. Latin has played a crucial role in shaping the English language, especially when it comes to academic, scientific, and technical fields. Words like radius, dictum, quantum, vacuum, and apex were borrowed directly from the Latin without any changes and are now common in areas like science, mathematics, and scholarship. Beyond that, Latin has also influenced the names of products, particularly in the medicine and food, and even inspired terms for scientific invention like locomotive, tractor, and the motor. Latin's impact goes beyond stand-alone words. It has also given us prefixes and suffixes that help from new words in English. For example, the suffix at as in educate and ic as in elastic come from the Latin and are now used to create terms that feel natural in English language. These additions have greatly expanded the language's ability to adapt and grow. In short, classical Latin's contribution to English have been profound and far-reaching. Its influence is not just historical, it continues to shape the way we communicate and think today. So dear students, here you have observed that we have discussed the 6 different categories which are very useful to know the impact, the existence of Latin and the Greek languages into English language. I hope today's video session is quite beneficial for you to understand this topic properly and effectively. I hope you have watched this video properly and will watch also for the better preparation for the examination, and you may achieve all the greatness and the success in your academic career. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परमः